Welcome everybody to our Autodesk fireside chat entitled Developing Your Sales Career. My name is Mick Clements and I'm the Director of Talent Acquisition for our sales organization here in EMEA. Today I have the pleasure of being host to some of our best sales leaders here at Autodesk, who are going to be sharing with you their insights into effective sales leadership, coaching and motivation techniques, and provide you with some key strategies to help you succeed in remote selling and/or virtual environment. We hope that you'll be inspired by their success stories and pick up invaluable strategies for implementing these practices in your current and future roles. But first, let me introduce our panelists. I want to say a huge welcome to Pilku, our Senior Director for Channel Sales EMEA.
Thank you for having me, Mick. So hello from my side. I'm joining you today from Munich. As you see behind me is our beautiful Munich office, but originally I'm actually Estonian, a small tiny country up north, and I have had quite a long sales career, 20 plus years, but who is counting? So first in Microsoft, I have lived in 7, 8 different countries with Microsoft, and then Citrix, and now very happily almost a year with Autodesk. So thanks for having me once again.
Wonderful. Thanks, Pilku. Next, we have Natalie, our Director of Inside Sales, Design and Manufacturing.
Hey Mick, hey everyone, a pleasure to be here. So I'm Natalie, I'm in my 7th year actually at Autodesk. And I'm calling from Barcelona. I've chosen a very Barcelona background. Hope people recognize the artist. And yeah, I've been running inside sales teams in different locations around the world. I spent some time in the UK, in North America, and most of my time here in Barcelona, leading international sales teams, which is something that I absolutely love. And actually, I'm most busy spending time with my 4 and 1-year-old boys at home, and that's what keeps me the most busy. And happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Awesome stuff. And last but not least, Jill, who's our Senior Director for License Compliance in EMEA.
Hello, everyone. What an amazing pleasure to be here with some of our best sales leaders in this organization at Autodesk. And of course, it's always a pleasure to be in the presence of Mick. I'm Jill Joaquin. I am today joining you from our London office. So I have decided to show you a little bit of our London office here. But I'm actually based in Switzerland. I've been in Switzerland for the last 15 years. However, I am originally from the Philippines, born and raised. I've also had the opportunity to work across 3 different continents and across various industries like banking, IT hardware, and consulting. But I've landed at Autodesk, and I've been here for the last 12 years with a lot of sales experience across various types of sales roles, and been doing that for over 15 years. So really happy to join you and looking forward to the next hour.
Awesome. Awesome. Thanks, Jill. And look, thank you all to all the panelists that have joined today. Okay, so we are going to do a little icebreaker here to warm everybody up, to limber up the larynx. So all panelists are going to be open here, and we should be able to start to see everybody joining the main screen. So fantastic. Now I will go around the virtual room, and the first question I'm going to ask is, who has been the most influential person in your life? That can be both personal or business. I'll let you choose, but who has been the most influential person in your life? Jill, you're nodding your head like you know the answer already. So let's go to Jill first.
All right, I'm going to say my dad.
Okay. I'm not going to ask why. I'm sure that we could go for hours talking with everybody here about who their most influential person is. But good answer to start with. Natalie, who's been the most influential person in your life?
Okay, Jill and I have not rehearsed this. Mine is my dad, who I would say taught me how to live a full life. And again, let's not make it too deep because we just got started, but I have exactly the same answer as Jill.
Awesome. Pilku, no pressure.
Wonder what Pilku's going to say.
No pressure.
So honestly, not rehearsed. I was going between my stepdad or grandfather, stepdad. So both have really taught me discipline, that I need to work hard, but also not to forget to have fun and always remember that family is the most important thing. So
I love that. And none of this was reversed. As you can see,
no.
I have my eyebrows up, and that's a good indicator. Okay, great start. So second question, who do you aspire to in business? Natalie, do you want to go first?
Yeah, this is a hard question, and mine change, I would say, with what I'm reading or what I'm looking at. And at the minute, I'm rereading Radical Candor, which is a book by a lady called Kim Scott, and she actually presented at one of our sales kickoffs a number of years ago in Las Vegas. And I really just love her philosophy on leadership. It basically talks about balancing the way that you lead in between caring personally and challenging directly. And I think that it's an excellent philosophy for leadership. And that's why I'm saying her today. Tomorrow it might be somebody different.
I again love that. Pilku, who do you aspire to in business?
There is no one person in my case either. I was thinking before coming on this call, like, is there one figure? And there isn't. However, I think I've been so lucky having had some very great managers, leaders in my life with whom I have worked. And to be honest, I have picked up some different things, like the way how they communicated on a specific meeting, how did they solve really nicely a tough situation, how do they treat it, how did they treat people? And I'm kind of picking up these different things. And I'm also thinking, when I'm in a difficult situation, would one of them be proud of me, the way how I was solving the situation? So it's a mix of different people.
I think again, super insightful response there. I think most management techniques, you pick like a magpie. You kind of pick from different people that you've interacted over time. So I like that a lot. Jill, who do you to aspire to in business?
The problem when you go last is you just sound like you're copying answers, right? So I'm gonna copy Pilku a little bit, but I genuinely did prepare this answer, in fact. So I'm gonna say that I am a product of everybody who's touched my life. And what I would say is that I've, just like Pilku, I've learned a lot from everybody that I've interacted with. And in the last 10 years, I've had this great privilege to learn from the people who have been reporting to me in my organization. Now, who do I eventually and ultimately aspire to in business? I really have to say, genuinely, I aspire to be a better version of myself in business, because every interaction that I have in my business life just helps me to grow and learn every day. And I know that I do. And so I aspire to just get better and better and better. So I aspire to be me.
Well, I couldn't have asked for a better response there. Brilliant. Thank you so much for that, Jill. And lastly, and probably the most important of all, the question is, who is your favorite all-time recording artist or group? And I'm going to go to Pilku on this one first.
Mick, I know you are so much into music, and I have to say, again, there is no one name. However, as the seasons are changing and the years, I was very, very young in the 80s, and growing up in Soviet Union, I missed all this coolness of the 80s. So I'm so much right now into this 80s New York soul. I really like Incognito, brand new, heavy. So this is something what you can find in the background at our home right now.
I love that. Maybe we'll change the intro music next time. We'll put the playlist there. Thank you for that. Jill, favorite recording artist of all time?
All time. I had to write down incognito. I have no clue who that is. I'm so sorry, Bilko, but I'm going to listen to incognito later. I'm so bad at this. So I wanted, just to stay with the times, I wanted to say Tay-Tay, but that would not be a real answer. I don't like Tay-Tay that much. So I'm going to say Coldplay. I watched them recently in Zurich, and it was amazing. It's just like, if any of you have ever the chance to watch Coldplay, do spend the money and take the time, because it is quite the show, quite the experience. Highly recommended.
Great point. Recording artists versus live performers, but that's another conversation. That's for the next. That'd be for the next one. And Natalie, favorite all-time artist or band?
Okay, I'm going to say next time we do this, let's rehearse, because I've literally written down. I went to see Music of the Spheres in July in Barcelona, and it was amazing. I have written it down right here. So anyway, I'm going to slightly change my answer because I can't copy Jill again. But when I was growing up with my family, what was always on in our house is Motown. So I have the back catalogue of Marvin Gaye, Stevie Wonder in my, my memories and my thoughts of being a child and growing up. And I just absolutely love that music. I'm also a big 80s fan, but that's what has marked me growing up, and still love that music today.
You know what, Natalie? I had heard that on the grapevine. There you go.
Oh.
I thank you. Let's start asking the questions here. So I'm going to be joined by Pilku for the first questions. If you could join me, Pilku, that would be amazing. Wonderful, wonderful. Are you ready?
Let's see.
Okay. So look, my first question to you is gonna revolve around motivation techniques. So what coaching and motivational techniques do you use in business or in life?
That's a good one. As I said in the beginning, I have been now 25 years in sales, and from day one in technology, and I have seen all kinds of times, and I'm glad that the times of you get what you expect and all this is over. So truly that the times are changing, and there has been many experiences, many trainings, but let me tell maybe two things what kind of have shaped me the most, or have been the most useful for me, and also kind of been most natural to me, because I think as many trainings we do, we need to be authentic by the end of the day. These things need to fit. And there is a fantastic development and learning company in UK. And the company is called Box of Crayons. Simple, right? Box of Crayons. Look, I even have one here. So, and they have a very kind of cool and interesting CEO who does the trainings on the coaching habit. He has written a book, and it is very simple, kind of 5 questions. How do you open up people in the discussion? And you can do even pipeline review with these questions. It doesn't need to be some career development discussions, something like that. So it's really kind of moving the conversation from being advice driven and giving people advice and telling them what they need to do, and moving this so much more into curiosity driven discussion. So please remember Box of Crayons and the coaching habit. Have a look. Very, very cool. And it's a kind of growth mindset, open mindset type of thing. Love it. And the second thing, what resonates really with me, and what has stayed with me since I started to hear about it and read about it, and this is positive leadership. So there are, of course, I expect the team, my people, everybody to deliver and be accountable and so on. But I think it's very different how you are getting the results. And if you are focusing with the people on trust, empathy, and well-being, you get so much better results. People want to be part of your team. You feel better. It gives me energy to start my day. I don't dread looking for or thinking about Monday mornings. Sometimes I do, but mostly not, because be yourself. Jill, you said it. So leading with this positive leadership. And as I'm saying in my team, everybody is a leader. It's all about our partners, customers. We are making a difference for them, and it better be positive because everyone wins. Long answer, but two key things from my side.
You're using some of my very best words. Positivity, being positive. It's infectious. So love that answer. Another question would be around your opinion here. But what in your opinion are, should we say, the top 3 or some of the key skills that a salesperson should prioritize developing? Why do we always go top 3? You know, however many you want to. 1, 2, let's make it impactful and positive.
Yeah. It really depends what you are starting with. I think it's important to know what are everybody's kind of not strengths and weaknesses, but what are your preferences? For example, for me, it has been really, I need to be more patient. This is so important for me. And I'm not a patient person, but I really say that this is very helpful. I would be much calmer and so on if this patience would come naturally. So if it doesn't come naturally, please try to train it somehow. What is super important is communication. And with communication, there are all kinds of shades. Learn to listen. It's the customer first. It's not your opinion. The same goes with any kind of interactions, right? In our family life, with our friends, etc. Then what I really, really recommend as part of communication, look, we all have seen these salespeople who are telling about their win stories, super boring most of the time, dry, boring, like can't listen to them. Learn to storytell. Give some color to the customer, why this win, what change, make it personable, but make it also authentic. It's so much more interesting to listen. And maybe last but not least, I really say always be learning. Technology is changing. Set the time aside. Be also interesting for your customer. Know something. Like this week, for example, we had this huge event, Autodesk University, where there were fantastic updates on artificial intelligence. I'm so happy that Autodesk is all in here, but there is a lot for us to learn to make a difference for ourselves, for our customers, for our partners. So be always learning. Don't think that you know it all. This growth mindset, openness, this is important.
Absolutely brilliant answers. Thanks, Pilaku,
Thank you
for that. Jill, I'm going to come to you next. How about that? So I'll wait for Jill to join me. There we go. Hi, Jill. So Jill, let me ask you, what motivated you to choose a career in license compliance, and what sets it apart from traditional sales roles?
Yep, sure. So I guess what really motivated me was, well, first they gave me the job offer, so that was quite motivating. Well, but genuinely, what really drew me into the role was just the fact that I've never done it before. The fact that I had never done license compliance. And when they offered me the job, I had no clue what it was about. I had never been in a license compliance conversation with a customer. I had never led license compliance salespeople. I had never led field salespeople at the time. I had only been leading inside sales teams like Natalie. And they decided to offer me this change in role at Autodesk. So the mere fact that I had never done it was exactly the reason why I was so motivated to do it. So nothing specific about license compliance on that part, except for the fact that I wanted to do something I had never done before and I had zero experience on. So, and I really encourage people out there listening to think about doing something different where you still have very strong transferable skills, right? So when you've got your strengths and you know it well, and you know that you have the confidence to deliver on those strengths, Be ready to do something a little bit different. So maybe you're in a certain part of a sales role today, but very easily be nimble enough and rely on your strengths to be able to move into a different kind of sales role in order to grow. Just like what Pilku said, always be learning, always do something new, always do something different. So that's what motivated me, Mick. And now let's move into what makes license compliance sales a little bit different than traditional selling. So I like to say that license compliance is a great school for negotiation. And I know every single sales role out there is a strong sales negotiation role. But I will say that it's quite special in particular in license compliance because every situation is absolutely 100% different. And every angle you'll get from the customer is absolutely different. So the fact that you are constantly having to stay on your toes because you will get a very different objection from one customer to the next, from a small customer to a large one, from an IT manager to a CIO to a CEO to a procurement manager, etc. Those are all very different situations, and you stay on your toes, ready to handle objections, ready to negotiate the next step. The other thing I will say about license compliance that's quite different is you really, really need to have good judgment because you are having very sensitive and delicate conversations with customers at the C-level, owners of small businesses, right? And you have to be, nobody is watching you, nobody's on your back, your manager's not there telling you exactly how to respond, and you've got to have the right judgment to make a decision on the spot on how you're going to progress that conversation with the customer. So judgment is super important, which leads me to the last point. And I know all sales roles are dynamic, but I can tell you license compliance sales, it just doesn't get boring like those top deals emails that Pilko keeps getting. So it's really not boring. Every day is different. Change is always around the corner. And that's really just what makes license compliance sales a little bit different and interesting.
I love it. I love your answer there. One thing I will say, I'm saying I love it all of the time. But if you have a reaction to what's being said on the screen, we do have there the reactions button that you can click on and you know, share an emoji as we go through. So I'll just say that. Thanks, Jill. Second question I'm going to ask you then. So how can sales professionals enhance their personal brand and create stronger connections with customers and prospects?
Yeah. Now, brand is a very, very important topic, right? Because you've got to have a strong professional internal brand. And of course, you've got to have a very good brand with the customer, something that you bring to every conversation and every interaction with the customer. So I'm going to be a little bit boring. Sorry, Pilku, but I'm going to try to I'm going to give you guys the rule of 3 C's. Letter C. So, and actually I will say I learned this from my father, which is why he's a very strong influence in my business life. So the first thing that is so critical to building a strong brand is to demonstrate competence. Right? It's very similar to what we've said before. Always learn, always get to the next level, always understand the new things that are happening in business, in technology, etc. Right? And then apply that and demonstrate that in your interactions at work with your colleagues and your interactions with your customers. The second C, I tell you what it is, it's care. And I don't mean the fluffy sort of warm and fuzzy care. I mean, be interested, care about the business of your customer, be interested in the things around you, be interested in what your colleagues are working on, be interested in the different interactions that you're seeing around you, observe and care about it. Because once you demonstrate that you are competent and you demonstrate that you care about business and you care about the business of your customer, guess what's going to happen? The last C, which is credibility. Then you will have credibility. Your customer will listen to you. Your colleagues will listen to you. And then this is the final formula, but it's not a C, Mick. I'm going to say, then you can influence. So when you demonstrate competence and care, you become credible and people will listen to you. Therefore, you will have influence. And when you have influence, you are a leader. So this is all important when you think about your brand. Think about that simple formula on how you will do that, demonstrate that every day with your customers and with your colleagues.
That's a fantastic answer, Jill. Thank you for that. I hope someone's making notes here for sure. Thank you for that. And Natalie,
Hello.
if you could join me, that would be great. I'm going to wait for you to come on screen. So I got a real quick one. A lot of people out there might not understand the difference between field sales and inside sales. So could you explain the role of inside sales within Autodesk, please?
Absolutely. So, well, for us, inside sales is one of our largest teams. So in EMEA, we're spread across a couple of different sales hubs. So we have most of our team is across Barcelona, Dublin, and Amman, where we have international, diverse sales teams. And primarily, I mean, inside sales is we work remotely versus field sales. Or obviously, we are able to go and visit customers and see them face to face. The expectation is we're able to carry out our role completely successfully, just being virtually present. So our primary role is we are here to help our territory and strategic territory customers to achieve their desired business outcomes and to show why Autodesk is the right choice for their investment in technology and what's going to help them to get to their 5+ year plan. And in order to add that value, the way that we do that and the way that we help our teams is we continuously strive to develop our skills and our knowledge. And actually, one of the things that's really important to us is we grow people faster in inside sales than any other part of the business in terms of their development, in terms of their learning, in terms of where they start versus where they might, get to in a short amount of time. We grow people very fast. And ultimately, we have a responsibility to also deliver on our sales targets.
It helps. It absolutely
helps.
As we are a business. So thank you for that. And my second question to you would be, what are the key strategies for success in remote or virtual selling?
Yeah. Okay. So rocket science fact of the day, the world has recently changed. The expectations of us, the expectations of all of our customers and how they operate, that's also changed. And I think a lot of benefits have come out of that. We travel less, the costs are less, the impact on the environment is significantly less. People are generally more available and it's more comfortable to do your job. But also, obviously, it's just changed the way that we might interact typically. And I think one thing that's really important, probably the most important thing, is to stay focused on your relationships. So staying focused on your relationships with your customers, staying focused on your internal relationships, because, when everything sort of went virtual at the beginning, that's the part that was lost. The part that's not, you're in a meeting, so you're talking about business, is that connection and that relationship part. We have to still consider that has to be built and it has to be managed and it has to be maintained. And ultimately, we're still only going to sell successfully if we have trust and we have relationships. So for me, that's the most important thing to keep focused on. Secondly, taking advantage of different ways to engage. We have so much technology, so many tools available to us, varying that, not forgetting about the essential things like phone calls and speaking to people, but taking advantage of all of that new types of technology that are available to us today. And using those insights to be more aligned with our extended teams and our customer. So anybody working in sales today is not working alone. You're working with a huge extended team of, customer success people, technical sales people, license compliance people, channel sales people, and we have a responsibility to have one voice into our customer. And actually, with technology, that really enables that conversation to be streamlined and for us to go and have that one voice. And I think the final thing I would say is stay sane. In sales, most people, we're social, we like to be with people, and being remote can take away some of that experience. So you have to make a deliberate effort to keep yourself sane, go outside, do exercise, go and be with your friends, be social, come into the office, whatever makes you, keep connected and stay sane and stay healthy is extremely important to prioritize.
Awesome response. Thank you, Natalie, for that. Much appreciated. Natalie, I'm going to keep you on screen if I can. I'm going to ask another question here, and it's around in your view. Okay, so what in your view are the primary challenges women face in sales, and how would they overcome them, or how would you overcome them?
Okay, very light question there, Mick. Easy question to answer.
Keeping it high level.
Yeah. So this is a topic I'm hugely passionate about, and have been passionate about it for, well, most of my career. I think the one very obvious challenge in sales environments is just the basic fact of underrepresentation of women. You know, in sales teams, we're getting much better. I think, you know, for us, we're almost half and half when it comes to gender diversity. But as soon as you think about something like walking into a room with a board or C-level, it's very normal to be the only female there, or very much be in the minority. That's the usual thing. You know, that is changing, but it's not going to change overnight. So when we're facing customers and presenting to customers, we're in a minority usually. When we start thinking about senior leadership inside organizations, we're also usually in a minority. So I would say the first thing is get comfortable with being diverse. Use your diversity as an advantage. You are the only one in the room that has that advantage. Rather than thinking, I'm the only person here that's X, use it to be different. And if you are the different one in the room, you can really be successful. So that's the first thing I would say. And secondly, comes from, if anybody's heard of Dr. Claudia Goldin, she recently was the only, the first woman to win a Nobel Prize single-handedly on her own for her research into, you know, the gender pay gap and how that's changed over time. And she talks about the motherhood effect. And basically that is the fact that actually men and women, until they have their first child, kind of advance in a similar way. And as soon as that first child comes, women advance much less quickly than men. And I think that what happens now is many people sort of expect a different thing once women have children, but what we have to do is basically show that it can have the opposite effect. You know, I have 2 young children, and for me, it actually made my career even more important to me when I had kids. And I think it's up to us to change that narrative, you know, to speak up, get a spotlight on how we can work differently with these kinds of challenges and find solutions and new ways of working. You know, I was promoted during both of my pregnancies. I was promoted when I was 39 weeks pregnant. And I think that's how change is made. You know, that's how we do things differently. And we talk about those things and we make them normal. It's not an easy question to answer, but that's my 2 cents.
Again, I love the. I think the answer's spot on there. It talks a lot to not just the change that needs to happen, but equally changes that are happening within Autodesk as well. So thank you for that. Pilku, I'm going to ask you to come up next, if I may. Back here. Good. We'll stay on screen. It's a lot quicker then. So my question to you will be, with your diverse experience in various sales organizations, we're not going to mention companies, what advice would you offer to women interested in pursuing a career in sales?
Okay. Also, we are treading very lightly today, right? So let me first say that I am where I am, or I am where I am right now because I'm the Eastern European woman, and most of the times the only woman in the room. And with this, I have had viewpoints and ideas and so on, but nobody else has had, simply because of my background, because of my experiences. This is your superpower. Whatever makes you different, this is your superpowers. This is your uniqueness, and use it. And look, it's of course, when we are going to sales teams and especially tech companies, and we see the lack of representation of women, lack of diversity, lack of sponsorship sometimes, and lack of commitment to diversity. But again, times are changing so much. Let me tell you a horror story. So when I was a manager the first time, I was in my late 20s, and of course, I was hiring people, and I was hiring or making a offer to a sales rep who was female. And you know what the lady was telling me? She can't accept the offer because the salary is too high for a woman. I will never forget this. Never, ever, ever. And so it hasn't been always easy, but what I have kind of made my my priorities to keep the eyes open. If there is somebody who needs help, let it be my team around me, and also see how I can make things better, more equal, and make a difference. Because I feel that it's not always so great just yet. And my advice maybe is when you are going through interviews, for me, diversity in the company with a manager, it starts in the interview. Don't take the position that you are being interviewed only. It's a two-way street. You are interviewing the company, you are interviewing the manager. Look out for red flags. Ask tough questions. Ask about how the what are the women development programs, what are the different diversity initiatives, etc. So this is absolutely okay. And look, I have made a mistake, and I thought that I saw some red flags, but I was so blinded by the great title and also money. I thought it's not so bad. I can make a difference. I can make this team and so on much more diverse. Guess what? I resigned. It was bad. It was so bad. If you get to the red flags in the interview, the red flags are gonna go only bigger. And don't trade in your values, your beliefs, your principles. It's not worth it. I know it may be easy for me to say it from my position. It's all great. I have been out there interviewing. It's a tough economy as well, but don't, unless you absolutely have to do it, don't take a place like this. Be smart, and you will not regret it. So remember, diversity starts with the interview.
I love that. Your answer's top notch. Thank you so much for that. Jill, I'm going to come to you, and again, keeping it deep. What in your opinion are the key factors for success in license compliance, especially among young female colleagues?
So I'm gonna stay away from the license compliance question, because genuinely I don't think there's particularly any difference. So I'll stick to the what makes women successful in sales, right? Because we've heard challenges between Natalie and between Pilku here, and some great advice from both these amazing ladies. And I will say, by the way, I will say one thing. When I joined Autodesk a little over 10 years ago, I was the only female sales leader in EMEA. I looked around, believe me, I tried to find another. I didn't find. So I will say I am incredibly proud that now I am in the midst of two other incredible sales leaders who are women at Autodesk. And there are many, many more who are not able to join us today, because otherwise the webinar would go on all day. So it has been a challenge, and but I'll tell you what, a couple of key success factors. And actually, just remember that there is no fixed formula when it comes to this, right? And I tell you the first reason why there's no fixed formula, which is exactly what makes women like us very successful in sales. And Pilku said it a few times already before. Be yourself, be authentic. If you can't look at people in the eyes and be happy about who you are showing up as, then you're never going to be successful. You have to be able to stand or sit in the midst of all these other people who may all look the same, behave the same, have exactly the same opinion, but you are you, right? So be there as you, be as authentic as you can be. I think the second thing I will say, and by the way, I have to say, when I reflected on this question, I said, you know what, where is the answer sitting? And I decided to think about Pilku and Natalie when I was thinking about these questions, right? And guess what, Natalie? The reason you got promoted when you were 39 weeks pregnant is because you are an incredible sales leader. People look up to you. Absolutely. People look up to you. They respect you. They know that you will lead them in the right direction. They know that you will help them achieve their sales goals. It wasn't because you're a woman or that let's give her a chance. No, because you demonstrated incredible strength and power to be at the right position, and that's why you were promoted. So congratulations. I didn't know that, but I am not surprised. And that, again, that speaks to all the authenticity. These two ladies, they only demonstrate their real selves. I promise you, I am not a copycat. But again, because this is success formula, I'll tell you the other one. Positive energy. I know Pilku likes to say positive leadership. I'm going to keep it a little bit simpler. And because I am authentic, I will say positive energy, because that's who I am. And I demonstrate positive energy in whichever situation I'm at, right? And I can tell you, Natalie does the same, Pilku does the same, and make 100% even more. So if you, as a salesperson, as a saleswoman, can demonstrate in all the daily difficulties and challenges that you face in the environment that you are operating in, if you can still demonstrate positive energy, you're already ahead of everybody else, right? We know that we can only win, 2 out of 10 deals. So what? Keep your positive energy up and you will get that next win, right? So this is really, it's just like, I feel like these are ABCs, but so important. And the final one, Pilko already mentioned it before. Own your power. I think one thing that's underrated is self-awareness, but the more self-awareness you have, the more you will understand your strengths. And the more you double down on your strengths, then you will understand your superpowers. But you've got to own it. You've got to know, hey, you know what? I'm great at doing this, and I'm going to continue to demonstrate that and double down on that, because that's going to help me to be even more successful in business life and in working with difficult situations, right? So very simple, be yourself, be authentic, own your power, and absolutely 100% of the time, as much as you can, sometimes it's not possible, but as much as you can, bring that positive energy.
You nailed it with your answer there, Jill. Thank you so much. Okay, Natalie, let's talk about, that's enough about you all. Let's talk about Autodesk. What sets Autodesk apart, and how has the company culture contributed to your growth in your current role?
Yep. Okay. So I have a short story on this as well. So my first day at Autodesk in early 2017, I got home and my husband said to me, like, hey, like, how's your first day? And I said, I'm not really sure. It was a bit strange. I said, I feel like Autodesk is like a cult. Because everybody that I spoke to was so happy to be working at Autodesk. And I'd come from a really great company, amazing sales, experience I had there, but I didn't have that same, feeling. And I thought, how long is this bubble going to last until it bursts? And here I am 7 years later, and I still feel like that sometimes, like, what's the catch? And I just think there's just so many amazing people that work here. My third week in Barcelona, I had at the time, CEO and other C staff sitting with my team, listening to conversations, listening to customers, really interested to know what were we struggling with. And I was thinking, why do these people want to know about me? I'm just little me. But that's been the same since I started at Autodesk, just that total openness. Anybody has time for you. Any problem you have, you reach out to someone and they will help you. And Jill was talking about it before, but everybody can just be themselves, and you can be proud to be yourself, and people will come to you because you are you and they want you to help them with something that they know you're good at. And the diversity side is great, not just gender diversity, diversity of thought, background, where people are from, the way people think. The expectation is to speak up. We don't leave meetings and leave things unsaid and talk about people behind their backs. We say it, and we say it in a tactful way, and we resolve things there and then. And I think that culture just keeps me so, motivated and happy and wanting to do more and contribute more and drive my team to better places. And keeps me hungry and super happy to be here.
That's an excellent response. And just to be clear, we're not a cult. But this is the first company.
Yeah, I don't think we are, but
Jill,
I think Jill and maybe even you know what I'm talking about. But we're not a cult.
No, and look, first company I've ever felt I could, be my authentic self. So I hear what you're saying. Thank you for that, Natalie. Jill, I'm going to come to you next. What do you find most rewarding about your 12-year tenure at Autodesk?
Well, first of all, Mick, later on, let's go to the little cult room where we meet every Thursday. Okay. So just to remind you, we've got that cult meeting today. So anyway, he's the president and I'm just the vice president of that cult. But anyway, that's it. All right. So sorry, what was the question? What makes it rewarding?
Rewarding the 12-year tenure at Autodesk. Sorry.
Autodesk. It's very difficult to answer because just Natalie inspired me again. I have this, it's like, yes, that's exactly why I love working at Autodesk, Natalie. It's just so spot on. But the amazing thing about the culture of Autodesk, just to talk about it just a little bit more, it really does permeate across the organization. And we have been fortunate that we've been able to hire people that not only sort of belong to this kind of culture, but are additive to the culture. People like Pilku, she fits so well, but she also adds so much extra value, right? So, and I think we've done an amazing job of keeping the culture, because when I tell you what was it, Natalie, 7-8 years ago, I would go to Barcelona because I had a couple of people there and it was an office of 30 people. And how many people do we have now? 500 maybe in Barcelona.
More than 500, yeah.
I can't exactly. And you know what's amazing? From the 30 people that used to sit there in a small office to this huge hub that we have, to the other hub that we have in Amman, I can tell you, with all that growth, the culture has stayed consistent, has stayed strong. And it just makes me so proud. But what has really been rewarding is again, very similar to what Pilku said before. When you come to Autodesk, you don't have to worry that you will have any conflict between your personal values and the values of the company. At least for me, and I would suspect for Natalie, and I certainly hope so for Pilku, right? So you don't compromise that. You can come to work every day knowing that you can live your own personal values and be aligned with the values of the company that you work for. We spend way too many hours in our waking time not to be aligned with the values of the company that we work for and the people that we work with, right? If I didn't have as much fun as I do now in this company, I certainly wouldn't have stayed this long. And I can tell you a last story, which is that my son told me once, "Mom, what do you do for work? Because you're laughing all the time." So maybe we should be worried about that story. But he said that to me, and I'm just like, if I can laugh despite all the business challenges that we're faced on a daily basis, and keep my integrity and keep my personal values intact, then I'm in the right place.
Brilliant. Love that spot on answer there. And Pilku, thank you, Jill. Pilku, relatively short tenure at Autodesk, right? But throughout, so I'll ask you about your career. So throughout your career in multiple companies, what makes Autodesk unique and meaningful to you?
Mm-hmm. Very good. So first of all, I'm blushing so much from all the goodness what Jill was talking about. I feel like I'm a really nice person, right? So
all that positive energy.
Exactly.
I said positive. I didn't say nice.
Yeah.
I never said.
Yeah, she's not nice. She's not nice at all.
I said she was positive. That's two different things, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. So when I started to talked to Autodesk, I was thinking for myself, like, what are my kind of non-negotiables? What I absolutely need to have in the company, in the team, what I'm going to join? And there were a few things. So first, and not in the order of importance, but first, definitely international. You already learned in the last hour that I'm not a patient person. And on top of that, I get bored very easily. And there is nothing what I love more is having this diversity of nations around me in my team, the partners I'm talking to. I really get the adrenaline kick out of this. So this is so important for me. Second, culture. There has been so much talk about culture, and I believe I talked to 10, 15 different people, and I really felt like this is real. They are not playing, but I still had a question mark. Maybe they are kind of presenting themselves and the company better than it really is. I was very suspicious, but I really see that this supportive culture and allowing everybody to be who they are, bringing their true self to work, accessibility of executives, it really brings out the best in everybody. And it makes things so much nicer in the way, not nice, it's fun, it's great, and it's very natural. So lack of politics, all this, it's really, really true what you hear. Then another very important point for me was cool technology, because who wants to sell lame stuff? Not me. Like, life is too short for some boring stuff and so on. And I want to be amazed by technology, and I want to have like cool stuff to tell to the customers. I want to amaze them. I want to surprise them. So this is important for me, because otherwise I could do something else. I sell ironing boards or God knows what. And last for me was, I want this technology pace to go on. I want big addressable market opportunity still out there, because it's not, again, interesting if everybody is already using the products and it's there and everybody is one happy family and there is no progress or innovation. But I want to have this more, and there is new cool stuff coming, and this will make the life and work of our customers better. I wanted this big market opportunity still to be out there. And honestly, these four things what I now mentioned, all these boxes were ticked, but I was of course like, okay, let's see, first weeks, first months, is it still true? But it really is like this. And as my friends are so much from these big tech companies, me being in Microsoft network there, AWS, Google, Salesforce, all this, I keep telling to my friends when they ask, so how is it? I say, like, best kept secret in the industry, Autodesk. So, and I really have this comparison point. So yes, I haven't regretted my choice at all. So for many more days and weeks and months with the colleagues and team like I have, that's what I hope for.
Oh, that's so nice. And now the cat's out of the bag, right? Everybody's going to know it's a great place to work. Thank you, Pilku, for that. Okay, so we're gonna have to. Well, I know there's been a ton of questions coming in on Slido. My esteemed colleague here, Pooja, is gonna ask a few of the questions next. Give me a break.
Thank you, Mick. What a session. We have lots of questions coming up on Slido, but in the interest of time, I'm going to choose the ones which are most preferred voted. So first question, Jill, this is specifically for you. Jill, how did you build your confidence and credibility as a leader in an area where you didn't have previous experience, which enabled you to make good judgment in diverse situations? It is very inspiring. So they would like to hear from you.
Okay, so I tell you, it's not rocket science. When I jumped into this role, completely clueless, I did make sure that I had a subject matter expert that I brought in as a mentor. So I found the head of license compliance for our Americas team, and he's still at Autodesk in our education team. And I asked him to mentor me for the first 3 months. Right. So I didn't want to, when you're in a leadership role and you've got, you know, all these direct reports and everything is 100% new. And it's the same as an individual contributor role. Always find somebody who has the expertise to help you to accelerate that learning. Right. So I spend a lot of time learning from the people that was going to work for me. So I had a lot of calls with them, but at the same time, in parallel, I had this mentor tutoring me, talking me through the process, talking through the sales motions, et cetera, and of course, I had my manager who was giving me the landscape of the team, helping me to understand the different things that the different challenges that I was going to face, and setting the right expectations for me to achieve. Right. So when you arm yourself with all of this crew that helps you to become successful, you can only be confident that you're going to make it, right? But you've got to arm yourself with this team.
Great, really inspiring. Okay, we move on to the next questions. You all have been great sales leaders. You have mentored small teams, and you have led and mentored big teams. So what are your key points? How do you create successful sales teams in Autodesk or in your past, wherever you have worked?
I can jump in on something short. So I think we've mentioned it a couple of times already, but I think one of the key things to base, how you choose your team and the way that you drive your team is to really drive people around positivity, energy, can-do attitude, whatever gets thrown your way in terms of an ask, a sales target, a difficult business environment, working on the expectation that everybody looks for solutions and ways to make things possible. And I think that really working and driving everybody towards a common goal and a vision is a way that we make this possible. And obviously, bringing in people that we feel will add to the culture and drive that real positive, outcomes and spirit and mindset is really important. And there's many, 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 many things we could talk about. That's what I think is key.
Great. Jill, Pilku, anything you would like to add?
Yeah, agree 100%, Natalie. And we have also talked a lot about diversity here today. So definitely diverse teams are strong teams. But let me add another word in here, and this is ambition. I always check what is the ambition of the person, because if there is very little ambition, there is passiveness. I think for me personally, it's gonna be difficult, and I feel that this wouldn't be the right fit, especially in the sales environment. Attitude and ambition, super important.
I'm just going to add one small thing, Pooja, on top of all this good insights from Natalie and from Pilku, and that's really just making sure that every single person in the team is focused on making impact, right? Positive impact in the customer conversation, positive impact to the business, positive impact to daily interactions with your colleagues. When you have an impactful mindset as well, and you're daily wanting to make a difference in your work, in your interactions, then, and everybody's doing the same, you really do have a very strong foundation for a high performing team, for an ambitious team, a team that's going to overachieve.
Very well said. Thank you. Well, in the interest of time, I think we move on to next. Mick, over to you.
Thank you. Look, I know, again, we're 2 minutes over. It's all been very natural, and I'm loving the answers that we've been getting. So, I want to say a huge thank you to all of the panelists for agreeing to get their very, very precious time up. So thank you for that. So if you want to learn more about Autodesk as a company, obviously go to autodesk.com. But if you want to look at the positions we have open right now, go to autodesk.com/careers. and check out the vacancies that we have in EMEA or globally. We're hiring globally. Again, another plug for the company, and you can do your research here, but we are industry recognized employers for some of the best places to work, some of the best innovators that we have at the company. We're winning awards for for our diversity efforts and just the whole environment that we have at Autodesk. And I'm trying to keep this concise. So please check that out as well. You'll find a lot of this information on autodesk.com. Thank you also to all of you out there in the audience that have joined. I really hope that you found this beneficial, useful, and it will help inspire you in your current role or future roles that you may find yourself, hopefully, at Autodesk. So thank you, everybody. Take care and have a great rest of your working week.